All right.
Yes.
All right, we'll be starting in just a second.
And, you probably already have started, but there's these guys just starting in business.
Yeah.
Have one of those?
Yeah.
All right. Here's last name Rob.
Yeah.
They're great. All I did was to print off the side of the list today. So. Let's see.
Hi, if you're just arriving, we're just gonna take a couple more seconds to get situated and then we'll be starting. Thank you.
The somehow, the invitation got put on my calendar for noon. So I show up at noon, they're like, it's not until 3. I'm like, oh, sorry.
No kidding. That's really strange.
So I don't know what happened there.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, yes, Julie. We've got a couple of people online. Maybe make sure it's working the way that we are expecting it to. So what's maybe on is we're gonna have to get out of the slideshow and then. No. I do have to let them in, but it does show on top of my. I zoom for my slideshow, so that works out all right. Welcome, Howard. And then how does your volume might need to be turned up? Nothing, we're not hearing anything turns up volume.
You're the one that was collecting all of the grant applications and all of that.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Kimmy, can you confirm that you can hear us okay?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay, excellent. Thank you so much.
No problem.
All right, so they can hear us. We're just, yeah, we just can't hear them. She's on, but that would probably be coming from the owl, because that's what we're using for the microwave. So if they're trying to talk, we need to go, no, get the office. It's on the owl, so I don't know if this volume is not up. Maybe that needs to go up. Yeah, it. Okay, so now if they talk, we could hear them. All right, Paula, could you say a little something for us, see if we can hear you?
Sorry, I was having technical difficulties. I couldn't get my earbuds to connect, and I don't have a camera on my desktop, so you won't be able to see me.
We can hear you if you guys want to talk to us.
Yeah, thank you. We can hear you great. Thanks, Paula.
Yep.
Yes, we're hoping to hear on our MEDC application for continued funding. We talked to them earlier this week about the milestone, the last payment for this grant. And they said that they've made their decisions and they're taking it to their board. And so I think they're taking the board in writing. So I'm hoping sometime next week we might know something. Excellent. That's pretty. If you're gonna have funding sometime.
You want to talk a little bit about the hub, since we've got
Certainly.
a couple people?
I wonder if we can move on the air. It's neat to say that, but it's so loud. Oh, it's not loud, really. No, it doesn't change anything. Okay, so let's see, we have how it can make online. Anybody else joining us online? Doesn't look like it. And here's here. 15 people sign up. That's very strange. That's starting to arrive. But anyways, so yes, smallest, the second smallest support hub is funded by federal grant funds, and they are American Relief Act funding. So yeah, it are well. Anyways, the funds run out September 30th. And so all of the funds that we have allotted for our direct grants, as most people who've been familiar with the hub for a while know, those are exhausted. We put out 426,000 to businesses in the central UP. We've got a lot of success stories. It's very good. And then we have applied for what they call Small Business Support Hub 2.0 funding, which will be state funding rather than federal funding. And that would start up October 1st and carry us through 15 months. With that, when we applied, we were told there would likely be the ability to do some more direct grants, as well as the other functions that we have been maintaining throughout our boots on the ground. And although there is less funding through the state, so we might not be able to have the partnerships that we have with Northern and their NMU Wildcat Consulting team that is doing strategic planning for businesses. But we will have, we're working towards this to having the boots on the ground and continuing to assist all of the other boots on the ground in the counties and making referrals. So that's what we're working towards. Awesome. Let you know, we also applied for another grant, but with that one, we just did a concept paper, and they're supposed to be letting us know if we can apply once we do the concept paper.
Okay,
So we shall see.
awesome.
That's what's going on with the hub.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And thank you for inviting me here today. So we're going to be talking about, I'm just going to turn this a little bit so I'm not, don't look like I've got my back turned to our Zoom clients. Today we're going to be talking about doing some marketing for your small business and coming up with a plan that'll work. This is very basic, nothing complicated. You may even be doing a lot of these items, but I just like to make sure that all of our small businesses are at least doing these minimum things. So first of all,
Can you interrupt you for a second? Did you get recorded?
yes, we are actually, just double check. Yep, we are actually recording now, so I already set it up, so, no worries. So, so we're gonna come up with just a way to kind of get a grip on what your marketing strategy could be for your small business, understanding who your small business is, which is an important part of your messaging, and then getting those basic tools down to move that forward. So I am with see if I can get this thing to auto, there we go. I'm with the Michigan Small Business Development Center, and we help Michigan businesses launch, grow, transition, and innovate. And we've got experts statewide, so you can, if you're online and you're not from the Upper Peninsula area or the Menominee, Michigan area, we do have folks that can help you anywhere in the state. And if you don't already have a consultant, you can go to michigansbdc.org and get free confidential consulting there and register for it. And here's some of our funders, and this is why it is free, because we do have some funding partners that help us deliver to you. So, okay, and this is where we're up here way up in the Upper Peninsula. Okay, so in my travels as a small business consultant, I've noticed that a lot of small businesses have a hard time wanting to market. Marketing is kind of like everybody's least favorite. Do you agree? We've got people in the room nodding their heads. It is like you want to work on your business, you don't want to have to take the time to do the marketing. And yet if you don't do the marketing, the clients don't come. And I have seen really good results from like a Facebook post, just a Facebook post. It can get some good response. So when you come up with a whole plan that's kind of cohesively working together, you can get some really good results. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about, first of all, we're gonna try to understand, like, what is your business? If you can come up with a one-liner to describe your business, that can be really important to helping people understand who you are. It can even be important to helping Google understand who you are. So as we're going along, trying to come up with like a one-liner value proposition, think about who is your audience. You know, sometimes audiences are different ages. They might be mainly women, they might be mainly men. What are those pain points that you solve for them? If you haven't thought about your product or your business as a solution to a problem, think about what is that problem that you're solving that can be helpful. And then how do you solve it? What is the process? Do you solve it because you're less expensive? Do you solve it because you're quicker? What is that way that you solve it? And then how does your product or service differ from other options? So if you can understand those things about the business, you're in a pretty good position, because I've just run into a lot of clients where if you ask them maybe any of these questions, it could take them a while to really think about, like, well, who is my audience? Who do I serve? So that's going to be really important. And then once you get kind of a grip on who your audience is, who your clients are, then you can kind of come up with that one-liner. And that one-liner is just something you can keep in your head. It's something you can say to people if they ask, well, what kind of business do you have? I'm a business services firm that offers speedy 24-hour service, you know, whatever that might be. So we can look at some of the ones here from other organizations. Pizza Hut, no one out pizzas the Hut, and that kind of implies you've got a wide variety of pizzas. You know, they've got the cheese stuffed. They really kind of go wide, right? They go wide. First, with Slack, I don't necessarily think there's a super catchy, but it basically says it, right? Be more productive at work with less effort. And if you're a slacker, that's pretty important to you. I'm an emailer, so I haven't quite got up to the Slack speed yet. UP Paper, that's a local business in Manistee, Michigan, and all they do is 100% recycled craft paper. They don't do all kinds of paper. They don't do fancy paper. They just do brown paper, 100% recycled. So they just basically lay it out. That's what they have. If you're looking for that, they have it. Black Rocks, a mellow microbrewery with a tap room offering craft beer, live music, outdoor seating, and more. That's a long description, but it pretty much encapsulates, you know, what they have to offer. Very community oriented. They want to make sure, you know, they've got live music. These are all the things that, you know, make them special and kind of maybe stand out from their competition. Not all the microbreweries offer, you know, live music often, or many of them don't have outdoor seating. So the fact that they're calling that out can really give them an advantage over their competition. And then I always loved this one, fast internet, happy home. That says it all, because if you are dealing with no internet, you can have a lot of crabby children, you can have a lot of crabby grown-ups. And I love that, where they're really reliability and speed is Highline's, you know, that's their value proposition.
And it looks like they cater to home internet rather than commercial.
Yes, that is definitely, yeah, it's kind of going with the happy home for that marketing. But I'm sure that they do have a separate business marketing that where they would be talking just directly to businesses. And that's a good point, because you can have a lot of segments, different audience segments, but each one of them you're going to talk to differently. Because, you know, if you're talking to young people, you're gonna talk differently than if you're talking to older people. You're gonna talk different to home customers than you are with business customers.
So that goes into that question of who is your audience? Do I have more than one audience?
Right? Yes, do you have more than one? And that's just such a great question to answer, right? Really think about that. Inspiring, the bank that plants trees. I never quite understood that, but it definitely makes you remember them. They definitely stand out. They plant trees. And then Nike, really basic, just do it. We all heard that, right? So they really have got that value proposition down there. You're just, if you need to get something done in a pair of tennis shoes, you can do it in a pair of Nikes. All right. So when you're thinking about your business as well, you're going to want to think about the 4 P's, and that's product, price, place, and promotion. And then again, understanding where your products and services fall in these 4 areas. So for instance, your products, if you are a store, maybe you're a grocery store, are you going to be a Walmart, a Target, a Kroger, or a Costco? So Walmart has 150,000 products at every store. Now they're a pretty good size operation, and they've got some processes down where they're, you know, bringing in products, they're stocking shelves, they're running products through. Costco does as good or better. We all know Costco is like the, you know, the behemoth. They only have 3,700 products at any time, and they have mastered the art of buying in bulk and getting the right pricing so that they're getting crowds and crowds of people in to buy multitudes of these 3,700 products. And then there's everything in between. There's Target at 80,000. So they've got some groceries. I think Target has groceries too.
Yep, they have a small grocery line.
Yep, and then Kroger's is a grocery store. Maybe it has a couple other things. I've been in a Kroger in a while, so.
Very good program.
Yeah, there's a Kroger's downstate. Yeah, so we've got these different, so what type of business are you? What is that product selection that you offer? And I think a lot of times, I want to say, we kind of err on the side of Walmart when maybe we should be as a small business, maybe going more Costco way as far as really understanding what is the product that's making us our money, right? Instead of spreading ourselves far and wide, maybe focusing on those products that are bringing in the most money, that have the best audiences. Just thoughts. So then also pricing. Prices can be all over the board. When we look at these wine sales, we're looking at pricing. You can sell a lot of bottles of wine for $4 to $7.99. That's what most people are buying. 30% of people are buying kind of cheap wine, right? But you might not want your wine to be considered cheap wine. You might say, you know what? I spent a lot of time. This is fine wine. I definitely want to be in the $15 to $20 range. And there's not that big of a market for that. But you're going to be, you know, for every, it's like, you only have to sell 1 bottle for every 4 bottles you would have had to sell at the other price. So it kind of works out. So think about where your products fall. And when you think about the pricing, you got to make sure it fits with your value proposition. You know, if your whole value proposition is you're cheaper than everybody else, well, you know, that it's hard as a small business to make it when we're competing with Walmart's, when we're competing with Costco's on price. We really have to have quality as maybe our or service as our standout proposition. We need to be better than, you know, the place everyone goes all the time. You know, we can't really compete with Amazon, we can't compete with Walmart, Costco, China, you know, so what makes us different and better? And that's where that value proposition comes in. And then also, you know, where can you place your product? Would it be on stores, grocery store shelves, or is it gonna be on an app? Is it gonna be on Facebook Marketplace? Is it going to be, you know, farmers markets? Where are you going to be placing it? Yeah, so that is gonna be, you know, you gotta know, where's your audience gonna be? You know, maybe you've got a farm product, you're gonna put it at the co-op in Marquette, or the health food store in Escanaba, or you're gonna be on the Made in Michigan app, or you're gonna be on the map for farm stores. It's an online map. And maybe you have a chart of all the different farmers markets you're gonna be at as well. So understanding where you need to be, where your audience is, so that you can make those sales. And then understanding your audience enough to know where they're getting their marketing. So this is actually a couple years old, but it's about Gen Xers. And it's showing that Gen Xers who are, gosh, I want to say the 70s and 80s kids, and now they're 50s, 60s maybe, where are they getting their, you know, their information about products? Well, a lot of them are still watching TV. I want to say the news shows, whether they have cable or whether it's streaming, they are definitely watching traditional news shows. They're hearing what other people say, you know, personal recommendations. Maybe they're looking in their AARP magazine and they're getting, you know, some recommendations from there, like, hey, this new product, whatever. Reviews online, I think that's common for every age group, right? We were going to see what does everyone say on the Google review. You know, how many stars are you getting for a product in your shopping carts? You know, if you're going to Amazon, you want to know how many stars is that getting. You're going to read those comments, and that can be a big deal too. All the way down to emails. I love where emails is at. It's actually above social media. And we're going to be talking about that. You don't think so?
No, not with the next generation. Gen X is.
Oh, this is just Gen X. Yeah, this is just Gen X. So if your audience is in Gen X, you're going to want to find out this information for your audience, because for sure, I would say social media is going to be one of the top for the younger generations, you know, whether it's Instagram or TikTok. I think probably a ton of TikTok. I think that's a huge sales tool for younger audiences. But here, you know, people are not quite so into social media. The emails seem to be very effective with this age group. And we'll keep that in mind. Catalogs in the mail. I am ashamed to say, I am still a catalog person. I just get those things, I'm like, woo, catalog. So yeah, right. And I buy stuff. I'm like, what am I doing? So yeah, so that's all, you know, find out where your folks are. Okay, so now that we kind of have an understanding of your business, you know, your audience, where your product might be best found by your audience, now we're going to just kind of put together this basic marketing plan. I think this is like the basics that everyone should be using. And people don't want to. I get a lot of kickback on a lot of the parts on this marketing plan. But if you do it and you can get it all working cohesively together, whether you're scheduling everything, because most stuff can be absolutely automated. Or if you're just taking time once a week to, you know, program it in, however you need to do it. If you do these things, you're going to get a really good return at a very low cost. And I think for most small businesses, pricing is huge. You want to keep your marketing, you know, you're already spending enough on software. I know a ton of people who spend a lot on software, whether it's, you know, accounting software, or, you know, your website software, all that stuff, it really adds up. And so we're not trying to be, you know, spend a lot of money here. This is basic stuff, very organic based. And if you do it right, you can do well with it. So we're gonna just start with the basics. These are the 5 things we're gonna be going over. And we'll just dive right in. The first thing is gonna be that Google business listing. I personally find this, and I think probably most people would agree with me, this is like the #1 thing you can do for your business to help it grow. If you can show up in a Google business listing, people can find you because they're Googling. It's like a point, it's like a direct line to the search engine. It's their format. We've put in the information they're looking for. And so people can find us. When I tried to get here, I was able to type in, Speed's Public Library, their Google business listing popped up. I hit directions and it just got me right here. So is this Speed's Public Library or Spies?
I think it's speed is speed.
Speeds, okay, all right. I didn't know if I was saying it wrong all this time. Great. So it gives you all these basics things. And if you think about when you're on a cell phone, if you want to get in touch with a business and you're driving along, you want to be able to hit that number off your phone, right? So you've got to have that phone number, clickable, where if you're just using your website, maybe you don't have your phone number clickable on your website and someone's got to like kind of, I don't know if you've ever done that, where you're trying to remember, you're like, okay, go back to the website, okay, 571, and then go back 571, okay, then go back to the website 634. So it can be really difficult. That's where the simplicity and the ease of the Google business listing is going to be fabulous. The business description, the business category, there's reviews on there. There's also additional, depending on what your business is, there's additional pieces like getting into products. You can really dive deep into your products and add them on there. They'll show up in search results. There's also services. Whatever services you offer, you can add right into that Google business listing. All of that is keywords. All of it's, being used by Google to show up in pictures. And pictures, tons of pictures. Yes, and those pictures that you insert there will also show up in an image search. So when someone is looking for images of, say you're a farm store and they're looking for images of lettuce and you've labeled your pictures, correctly, they'll pop up as, images of lettuce, and you might just show up in a random Google search. So here's an example of a Google business listing. So you can kind of see, the ease of the phone number, because you can just hit that call button. There's the directions. You can even save it to your phone. There's the website. Paying special attention to your description. You get 750 characters. Make sure you max it out. And one of the ways you can do that is not only talk about like what kind of business you are, what you offer, like, all these different coffee drinks. There's a gift shop in here, but also talk about local attractions, because people might be typing in pictured rocks. They might be typing in Kitchi to Kipi. You will show up in that search as a business near that area if those keywords are in there. So make sure you take advantage of local attractions, like even for, Upper Peninsula, use the words like Michigan, things that people are really interested in. These are, really important keywords. Made in the UP.
Yeah,
Some of the other
on the shores of Lake Michigan.
Right, Lake Michigan, Lake Superior, those are huge key terms, keywords. All right, and then websites. So we get a lot of people who don't want to do a website. They just want to do a Facebook page. And sometimes, that works great. But the problem is you get people who, first of all, are not logged into a Facebook account, right? So they get to your Facebook page and they have to log in. There's this login page, and you can still like kind of halfway see it, but the login is like stuck on the page and you got to scroll and you can't really see anything. Also, the items are not organized in any certain way, because the way Facebook is, like if it's St. Patty's Day and you just put out a post on St. Patty's Day, That's what people are gonna see. They're not gonna see what products you offer, what services you offer. If they want to see those things, maybe you talked about it a week ago. And if they scroll, they can find that. But you want to have an organized presentation of your business, especially, you know, if you've got a services business and there's a lot to show there. Well, even a products business, you want to have something organized so they can find everything they need. So we talk about, you know, that's your digital version of your bricks and mortar. You need that permanent address on the web. Control your content. You don't want Facebook to, you know, change something again and they can't find you. And then lets people really make purchasing or booking decisions late at night, right? If you've got a booking tool or you've got a store, they can be sitting on their couch at midnight, clicking on buttons, making purchases, and you wake up the next day and find out they did that. A lot of times, I mean, sometimes they can do that on your Facebook account, but it's just a little more difficult. Maybe people can figure that out depending on, you know, who that audience is. But, you know, obviously your website must be mobile friendly. I mean, a couple years ago, it was 80% of traffic comes from mobile devices. I would guess it's probably higher than that now. A lot of people are just everything they do. I mean, some people don't even have computers in. I like my computer, but that's just me. You can make your own website. You can use easy drag and drops like Wix, Weebly, or Google Sites, or you can hire a designer. And hiring a designer is a really great option for people who are just freaked out about the time, who are really bad at technology, which is a lot of people, who just don't want to have to think about it, who just want to just say, this is what I want, and then have someone else design it. So that is a great option as well. For the time you have to put into building your website, you might say, wow, 2,500, 5,000 from someone who knows what they're doing to put together a beautiful website. Not a problem at all. It's a great way to get started and not have to think about it. And you definitely want to have ownership of that website. You want to make sure that you can make those changes when needed. And then I also recommend that you include a blog component. So a blog component, we're going to talk about that here in a minute. That's another one I get a lot of kickback on. Email marketing, that's another one I get a lot of kickback on. And then, of course, a store component. Shopify is a great website. If you've got a store component, it's got a really robust back end with a lot of shipping options, including international shipping options. So let's talk about email marketing. So depending on your audience, we just talked about how email marketing can be really effective. Gen X apparently still does a lot of email. I know I check mine out once in a while. So when you have people sign up for your email newsletter, there's a couple different ways you can do it. Like get them at the trade shows. You can offer promotions and drawings. Now you've got their information, you've gotten their approval to connect with them. Maybe they got their name in a drawing for a little prize from the show, whatever it was. And now you've got this great list. So these are customers who asked to be contacted. So don't be ashamed or embarrassed or feel bad that you're reaching out to them because they asked you to do so. There's a lot of different, you can see the different list of different things you can use. They're all fairly simple. They're all pretty much the same. They all have maybe a learning curve with them, but it's an important piece. So when you've got that email marketing going, one of the things you send them is the blog. And one of the things you send them is your monthly special. And then you send them tidbits. Oh, we're introducing this new product. So that newsletter is going to collect all the different things that you have going on in your business, and you're going to be able to communicate with them Maybe it's even just a promotion for one thing. So maybe you get someone come by, and, you know, sign up for the newsletter. Now you decide, okay, well, anyone who, signs up for a basic website, I'm gonna give them 10% off, something like that. So send out your email, it's gonna say, you know, a special on basic websites, you know, 10% off, and then now you've got, you know, connection, maybe you'll get some response on that. So that's always a great way to stay in touch with your clients. Now that they're established, these are your priority customers. If they walked into your store or they bought a product from you at, say, a farmer's market, and they're in your database, keep in touch with them. You know, it's hard to build a relationship with a client. It's hard to make that first sale, but now that you have, definitely stay in touch with them. And that's what's great about the email marketing. And those are all the things that you could, you know, obviously there's so many more. If you look in your email, I mean, I just suggest if you want some ideas about what to do for your email marketing, just go to your promotions folder in your Google Drive, right? There's so many good ideas in there about ways to communicate. Now, I think as a small business, we don't want to be so commercialized, right? Maybe you make it more personal, a little more personalized. Maybe you even send it, if you've got a small enough audience, maybe send it from your Gmail account if you're able to get, you know, keep under that. There's some maximums, right? And just make it a nice, friendly, you know, blind copy type email, like, hey, thinking of you, hope you're having a great summer. Don't forget, you know, we're, the blueberries are about to bloom, come on out, you know, whatever, to our farm. So those are some great ways to use that. Now, the newsletters or the emails are also a great way to get your blog out. So the strategy behind the blog is that it lives on your website. So it is content on your website. You put that link to your blog on your Facebook page. You put the link in your newsletter, and now they're going to click on that link. It's going to go to your website. Now they're on your website. So what did you just do? You just increased traffic to your website. So now you are telling Google that you are relevant, that you're a good answer to a question, right? Because you've got some more credibility. So the more you can use the blog component to create content, and it doesn't have to be garbage content, right? It can be really from the heart content about your products, your services, how you feel about a certain thing. It can be, you know, how you really feel about build it yourself websites, you know, whatever, you know, you could just say, here's why I recommend, you know, actually having someone build a website, whatever it might be. Here's what I learned today. Yeah, here's what I learned today, right? Whatever you want to put. Now, so they're going to go over to that blog. It's going to be good content, or it's going to be educational content. It's going to be something about your area. And I think my next slide, maybe here's just an example of one, this Garden Grove retreat, 6 best things to do near Fayette State Park. So people are going to be Googling Fayette State Park, right? They're going to want to find out, well, maybe there's other things to do nearby. So while I'm at Fayette, what else can I do? Well, they just landed on this Garden Grove Retreat website. So now they're on the website and they might say, oh, this is a lodging establishment for Fayette. I'll just make my reservations there, right? So you can kind of see how the blog can be really useful in getting you like found in, you know, the places you want to be found. So that is kind of why the blog, to me, is one of the most important things you can do on your website. Now, if you ever have like kind of researched it, if you go to HubSpot, for example, HubSpot.com, they have the best marketing blog. They will give you so much information about marketing, and it's all just really valuable stuff, like great stuff. And what they do is they interconnect everything. So you can be reading one blog about blogs. Here's how to write great blogs. And then they're gonna have little links all through that, sending you to other places, other blogs on their website. So they might be sending you to an email marketing blog. Here's more information on how to make that work with your email marketing program. Click. You could sit there for hours. Yeah, going back and forth. What are they doing? They have just built the most incredible, credibility factory right on their website. And you can do the same thing. You can have your blogs linked to other blogs. So, when you really understand your own business, you realize how endless the material is. You just realize there's so much to talk about. There's so much to say, whether it's like how you make your candles, or why you use a certain wick, or why you chose this particular container over something else, or what made you decide to get into candles in the first place. It's like endless, and that's what people want. They want to just go and dive into your products. They want to get to know you. This is how they get to know you, is through this personalized blog that helps them trust you. Now they're going to be getting your emails. They're going to be reading your content, and they're going to start feeling like, I think I want to use this person for my website provider, or I want to use this person for my attorney or my financial planner, because they feel confident about you.
And Jotform and HubSpot also utilize links to videos on YouTube to explain how to do anything within their product yourself.
And I love that. Okay, so YouTube is not part of this presentation. I've got a whole separate one for YouTube, but if you're not doing YouTube, that is a fabulous marketing tool. I don't know about you. I sit next to my husband on the couch at night, and he is just going YouTube, and he's on reels, all video content. So if you're not doing video content, that's another great way to, get your business known. So then there's social media. So that's kind of, the video, the reels, that's all social. That's our digital word of mouth, and it is an invitation to get people to the website. I want to say that really the important thing about social media is that it's a tool to get people to the website. And why is it so important to get people to the website? Because it builds credibility on the website for Google, so that you will show up higher in search results. And so that's what we use social media for. You're going to tell your story. You're going to drive them to the website. You're going to get them to your store. You're going to get them to your blogs. You're going to get them, to the website as often as possible. It's not going to be possible or practical every single time, especially if you're just saying, happy St. Patty's Day or happy 250th or whatever. So those posts are fine as well. But don't forget to drive them to your website as often as possible to get that traction. And then don't forget to boost posts. A lot of people don't realize that you can really target your Facebook posts or your Instagram. I think you can really dig down. Even your Google ads, you can really dig down. It's all the data that they have out there. Figure out where's your audience. You can look from your POS system to see where are people coming from, and then drive your ads to those areas and get them up here. So
And if you have a physical address of your business, your navigator has access to Placer AI, which is a platform that tracks digital phone traffic. And so they can tell you where somebody came from and where they went to after they were in your store, what other stores they might have visited. If it's around an event and you're wondering if it's practical to have your business open at a certain time, that they can tell you that as well. They can run reports based on what you think may be relevant to your business and give you a much better idea of where to target your market.
Right, so I'm hoping everyone online could hear that. So there's something called Placer AI that the Hub has access to that can really help you understand who the audience is in a particular area. So that's something that the hub has access to. That's Jose, some of the other Jose, yeah. Yeah, it was in the Marquette area, they have some hub folks. So that's always an option too, is boosting it. So then if we just look at all the things we talked about, you've got your Google business listing completely free. So if you do your own website builder with a blog, that can be fairly inexpensive on a yearly basis. If you have someone else build it, that's a little bit more of an investment, and there's going to be maintenance fees as well. So that's going to depend. Domain name, typically, I want to say maybe it's 15 to 20 a year now. Email marketing, that can be a little higher depending on which one you use. There are free versions that up to like 400 clients. You can, I think, maybe MailChimp.
MailChimp has one, Constant Contact has one.
Yeah, so they try to pull you in on the free version, and then you get frustrated because there's that one thing you want to do, but you can't. And so you have to upgrade. I'm sure we've all run into that.
Build an integration yourself.
Yeah, or understand how AI agents work and just do a workaround, right? So, and then social boosts, 75 a month is a ton of money on social, which is still only 900 a year on a marketing program. And I think you could do it for less. Even a $25 ad spend for social media can make some traction locally. And just get, reach out to new audiences, and you want to remind people to follow you on Facebook, follow you on Instagram, because that's how you're going to build your audience too, and keep getting the word out there. So that is how much, it's going to vary what you decide to do, but it can be very cost effective. You don't have to go too crazy. And then of course, once you get everything going, check your metrics all the time. It's really encouraging when you see things start to go up because you put a Facebook post out there. To see that, your reel got over 500 views. So that can be good stuff. And you're like, wow, well, I'm going to put out some more reels because that's really helping, get some exposure. So that's really, can be very encouraging. So that is the brief version of a basic marketing plan for your business. And I'm open to any questions anyone might have, or comments or suggestions. Anyone online or here in the room, anybody have anything? You're good, Kimmy. Thanks for being here. Appreciate that. All right, so we've got Jose's in the room. He is our local hub guy. So he's here to help anyone in Menominee, Dickinson, just those two counties.
Yeah.
Yep, and then there's other hub navigators. SBDC is statewide, and you can get registered with us at that michigansbdc.org, free and confidential assistance for small businesses. And appreciate you guys being here today. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for hosting this.
Absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.